Hello, welcome back to Through the Trapdoor. I'm Emily.
And I'm Katie.
And this is our podcast where we read you Harry Potter fanfiction.
That's what we do.
Yes, it is.
I'm so excited. This is our third episode that we're recording this evening.
I know, we are on fire tonight.
I mean, I guess this is what happens when I show up tired and don't drink wine.
Yeah. I mean, we're also just like, I feel like we finally got into a place where we're like actually good at reading the fan fiction, so.
I have improved immensely.
You have.
You were always pretty good.
I feel like I'm struggling more now than I did previously, but it's fine.
I think you might have backslid.
It's fine.
We'll blame it on the baby.
Yeah, it's baby brain.
Jennifer with a silent W.
Yes, Jennifer with a W.
Oh.
I can't. Okay. Alright, so normally we're really bad at doing recaps, but we're going to do a brief recap of Sirius just got a letter from an owl, and now I'm going to read you the letter. That's where our chapter picks up today.
Yes.
That was all the recap you get, sorry.
Sirius is in love with potatoes.
Yeah.
He got a letter.
That was a whole thing.
We're going to find out what the letter is.
The letter read, Sirius, I am in love with you. I didn't know how to tell you, so I wrote you a letter. Actually, I'm not writing it, my best friend is. The first letter I wrote, my hand shook so badly that I spilled the ink bottle when I tried to dip my quill in, and you probably didn't notice me, but I noticed you, and I've been in love with you for a year, and I couldn't stand being in love any longer without you knowing. I don't want you to respond yet, I'm so scared, but I had to let you know. I'll send you another hour later when I've gotten the courage. Until then, forever yours, your secret admirer. Well, Sirius had never had a secret admirer before. It was rather flattering. But he'd rather he knew who it was. Did he know her? Was she a 6th year? A 7th year? A 5th year? Had he ever talked to her before? Was she afraid to talk to him? It sounded like Sirius would clobber her with a broomstick or something if she asked him out. Maybe it was Melody.
You guys have already kissed.
Yeah, just stop pretending and everybody date the person that they're in love with.
Please.
Just stop being dramatic.
Also, Sirius, most of us haven't had a secret admirer.
Yeah, I can't think of a time that I ever had a secret admirer.
Ever. Not even like middle school where you get the extra Valentine from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That just says you're a secret admirer. But there's always that one person who signed all of their Valentines that way, so it doesn't count.
Yep.
And they're giggling in the corner so you know exactly who it is.
Every time.
I'm going to be that mom for my kids.
You're just going to sign all of them secret admirer for your kid.
Of course.
That's great. Sirius dropped the letter again at that thought. It almost made sense, though, after all, he'd never seen Lily's handwriting, and who knew whose owl that was, so maybe, just maybe. Sirius bounced happily around MHQ for several minutes, and then ran off to find Remus, or Peter, or James, or hell, he didn't know, Professor McGonagall even. Somebody he could present this love letter to. Interesting, Remus said, examining Sirius's letter with a magnifying glass. Very interesting.
Remus would be like, I've got my magnifying glass here.
It's a pocket magnifying glass.
I carry it with me.
Oh my god. So we had to stop at the Rite Aid right over here the other day.
Yeah.
And you can tell that we live in a town with lots of old people in its population because literally in every aisle was a pull-out magnifying glass.
Oh my god!
And I was like, Benjamin, look it. We live in an old person town, and every aisle has a magnifying glass available.
I love it. That's amazing. That's too good.
It was too much. What? Sirius demanded, wondering if Remus could possibly find anything with a magnifying glass. Well, according to this inscription here, and this marking here, The marauders leaned in closely around him, trying to see what he saw. "Yes, by George, I've got it!" Remus said triumphantly, standing up. "What?" James, Peter, and Sirius asked him with wide eyes. "You've got a secret admirer, Sirius!" They all groaned. "That was horrible, Moony," Sirius said, snatching his letter away. Remus laughed and plopped back down onto his chair. "Well, what did you expect? A major scientific finding? DNA?" "James, do you think this is Lily's handwriting?" Sirius asked, handing over his letter. James frowned at the page for about a second and a half before shaking his head. "No, I don't recognize it at all." "Damn!" he said, snatching it back. "Why, were you hoping it was Melody?" James teased. "As a matter of fact, yes," Sirius replied, and James blinked. "Well, that's the first time you've ever admitted it outright," Peter remarked. "Admitted it? What? I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about, Wormtail." Sirius lied, inspecting the letter closely for something that obviously wasn't there. Peter rolled his eyes. "It could still be from Melody. Lily isn't her only friend, you know." "He speaks the truth!" Sirius cried, flinging a hand into the air, inadvertently sending his love letter flying. Wormtail snatched it in midair and read it again. "What makes you think Melody would write something like this in the first place? It doesn't sound remotely like her." "Since when are you a Melody expert?" Sirius demanded, snatching his letter back yet again. James plucked it from Sirius's hand, almost immediately scanning the letter himself. "Wormtail does have a point, Sirius," he said, "and I think Melody would strangle herself with tooth-flossing string mints before even thinking about putting a word of this junk down on paper."
Fair.
"From what we've seen, true." Sirius was now in quite a foul mood, took his letter back for the last time, shoved it into a pocket. "And what about you, Moony?" he demanded. "Are you on the SSR Dream Spoiler too?" Remus looked at Sirius and shrugged. Aye, Captain. Suppose I am," he said lamely. Sirius glared at all of them and stomped off to find Lily. "Lily?" Mimi said cautiously, walking into the girls' dormitory, where Lily had camped herself out since lunch. She'd been in a horrible mood ever since the fight with Melody, and Mimi hadn't approached her since she'd run off to who knows where, probably looking for James. Lily, hidden behind the curtains of her 4-poster bed, didn't say anything. "Are you okay?" she tried again. "Of course I'm okay," Lily said coldly. "Why wouldn't I be?" She was attacking her sketch pad with a dark, thick pencil, attempting to draw she really didn't know what she was attempting to draw, but at the moment, it really didn't look like much.
Sounds like you're just scribbling on paper.
Yeah, you're just aggressively scribbling. I've been there.
We all have.
There was silence from the other side of the curtain for a moment, as Mimi tried to think of what to say. Several things came to mind, but none of them seemed appropriate. "Have you been studying?" she finally asked, but the question felt very awkward. "No." Lily sounded agitated. She didn't seem much in the mood for small talk, or for that matter, any kind of talk. "You sound angry," Mimi tried. "I'm fine," Lily insisted, not sounding so at all. "Did you find James?" "Who said I was looking for him?" "No one, Damn it, Mimi! What do you want?" Lily demanded, finally exploding. She pulled back the curtain of her bed and glared at Mimi, who looked like she'd been slapped. "Want? Lily, I don't want anything. I'm trying to make sure you're okay." "I'm fine. I already told you, so give it up," Lily yelled. "Why are you yelling at me? What did I do?" Mimi said. "Why can't everyone just leave me alone?" "Fine, if that's what you want, I'll leave you alone forever." Mimi stormed out of the dormitory, slamming the door violently behind her, causing a vase of flowers to crash to the floor. Lily just pulled her curtain shut again and returned to her drawing.
Her scribbling.
Sirius was tooling around the Ravenclaw entrance, wondering how to get to Lily, when someone shot out from it and smacked squarely into him. "Ow!" they both exclaimed. Sirius stumbled back, shaking his head, trying to make his eyes focus. When they did, they trained on a very pretty girl with short, wavy brown hair, large brown eyes, who was rubbing her forehead. Ow, she said again. Sorry, she looked apologetically at Sirius, who smiled. Hey, he said after a moment, do I know you? Vaguely, she said. I know Lily Evans, who likes James, who's your friend. Oh, Sirius said. And you know Remus too, right? She nodded. And your name is? Mimi, she said. Ramirez, she added after a moment of thought. And I'm Sirius Black, Mimi finished for him. Yes, I know. Ah, fan, Sirius cried, clapping both hands over his heart. Mimi giggled. Don't give yourself too much credit, she said, crossing her arms. Sirius's mouth dropped open. How rude! Are all of the fans this insulting? I wouldn't know. Ah, well, unknowing fan, do you know where Lily is? Mimi rolled her eyes. Up in the girls' dormitory, being angry. Why? Well, that stinks. Hello, Mimi waved her hand in front of Sirius's face. Care to answer my question? Not really. Ugh. Sirius smiled. Well, I had to go. Bye. Mimi.
Serious?
I could only imagine him actually saying it like that. Okay, well, gotta go. Bye.
Bye.
And then just like running away.
I just love that. Oh, a fan.
A fan. Canon Sirius.
Totally.
Mimi glared at him as he disappeared down the hallway. Lily, after many hours scribbling on her paper and fuming, had finally calmed down enough so that her eyes would focus. She looked down at her drawing and allowed her mouth to fall open with indignation. On the paper was a drawing of herself, but with bean plants growing out of her head. She ripped the page out of her notebook and left the girls' dormitory. James was in the library, actually attempting to study, when a brown school owl flew in, looking rather agitated. It rather rudely dropped a letter on James's head and flew off. James, curious, abandoned his potion notes and opened the letter. It was a drawing of Lily with bean plants coming out of her head. James burst into laughter, which quickly subsided with a sharp glare from Madame Pince, and he looked down at the writing scrawled under the drawing. Look what you made me do.
I love that she sent it to James.
I know.
Owl.
Like, I would have just thrown it away, but no. Lily had to send it to James.
Which means she left the dormitory and went to the owlery.
And then sent it to him.
In the library.
It was just ridiculous.
That's so many steps, but also kind of petty. And I kind of love her for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Melody was in MHQ trying to figure out what to do about Lily when Remus came in. Sorry, were you studying? Melody laughed. Very funny, moody me. Studying? Remus smiled and shrugged. So when are you planning on patching things up with Lily? Melody rolled her eyes. Don't talk to me about her. I'm not planning on patching things up. So what are you going to do? I don't know. My partner in crime disappeared. I've been waiting for him, but obviously he's not here. Do you know where he is? Wait, don't answer that. He's probably off just chasing some stupid girl. Melody shook her head, crossed her arms, feeling a twinge of jealousy in her stomach. Whore, she muttered. Remus, who had been silently containing his laughter, finally burst and fell to the floor in hysterics. What exactly is so funny? Sirius, he gasped in between laughs. He's your whore-looking whore! And then exploded into fits of laughter again and couldn't speak. Melody smiled, shook her head, waited for Remus to calm down. So, Melody said, once Remus had managed to contain his laughter, you said Sirius was looking for something? Remus grinned evilly. Melody, dear, he said. Melody raised her eyebrows. Yes, Moony, dear? You haven't been commissioning any of your friends to write mysterious love letters to Sirius lately, have you? Sirius has a love letter? Remus nodded, smiling evilly. And he thinks it's from me? Melody demanded, and her eyes went wide as saucers. Remus nodded, whining his evil smile. This is good news, Melody exclaimed. She too got an evil grin on her face. This is very good news. So dramatic.
I love it. I love all of the drama.
I know, I'm living for the story. Even though it's crazy long, I love it.
Oh, same. Honestly, same.
It's probably my favorite story that we've done, other than, like, you know, some of the crazy one-shots.
Oh, yeah. Some of those.
Just the laughing.
Oh, man.
Lily looked up from her potions book at the window where she expected to see an owl. Instead, she saw the grinning face of James Potter. "What are you doing?" Lily exclaimed, opening the window. "Coming to say hi to my lily bean plant, of course," James said. Lily giggled. "Enjoyed my drawing, did you?" "Immensely," he grinned devilishly at her. "Hop on," he said, motioning to his broom. "From the window? Are you joking?" "What, don't trust me?" James asked, mockingly hurt. "Come on, Lily, where's your spirit?" Lily grinned and slid out of the window, landing herself safely on the back of James's broom. She was, after all, only 16. "What does that mean?"
I don't know.
Also, I would not have done that.
I also would not have done that.
Unless he was on the first floor and I was just, like, basically stepping out of the window.
Right. Also, this is, like, straight up Jasmine and Aladdin all over again. Like, I don't think I would have stepped off my balcony onto that magic carpet. I don't care how cool the magic carpet is. No, I'm not leaving the protection of my pet tiger, who loves me and hates everybody else, to get on a unknown magic carpet.
Where are you going to take me? No, too many sketchy
Don't you trust
things.
me? No, I don't trust you. I don't know you.
"Woohoo!" James yelled and took off. "Ah!" Lily screamed and clutched James around the waist for dear life. "Don't do that!" James laughed but slowed down. They spiraled up to the roof of Hogwarts, to the same place James had found Lily last year. "What's the occasion?" Lily asked, dismounting the broom. "You've been stuck in your room for the last few hours. I had to cheer you up," James said, shrugging. He pulled a rolled-up, bulging napkin out of his pocket. "I nabbed some food for you," he said, offering the bundle to her. Lily raised an eyebrow and smiled, accepting the package. "I hope it's potatoes."
It has to be potatoes.
Is James Potter actually being thoughtful? "Are you implying I'm inconsiderate?" James demanded, seizing Lily by the waist and dangling her feet over the side of the school. "Ah, James!" Lily yelled, only half frightened. James smiled and pulled her close, giving her a peck on the cheek. "Jerk," she muttered, but she was still smiling. "Jerk, eh?" James started to pick her up again, but Lily shrieked and wrapped her arms around his neck tightly in protest. "Ah, the ladies can't resist me," he said, wiggling his eyebrows. Lily rolled her eyes and laid her head on his shoulder. "In your dreams, Potter." She looked up at him, suddenly feeling very small and very safe. She traced the line of his jaw with her finger, memorizing the look and feel of his face. She kissed his chin, his nose, his cheeks. James, growing impatient, caught her lips with his and proceeded to kiss her until Lily no longer had control over her body, until all she could think about was James, and how right it felt when he kissed her, and how dizzy she got when she kissed him back. But then another thought wormed its way into her head, and she gasped, breaking the kiss. A year ago, she had sat on this rooftop, yearning for love. As she looked into James's sweet brown eyes, she wondered, had she found it? Wendy Thompson couldn't concentrate on her arithmancy homework. There was something much more pressing to think about. Linda Sharp, her best friend, sighed and nudged her. "Come on, Wendy, this paper's due tomorrow. I really need your help." Wendy sighed. "I can't concentrate, Lynn, not now." "I knew I never should have helped you write that letter." Wendy glared at her. "Well, you fall in love with someone, and then you see how you can concentrate on arithmancy." "Please, Wendy, like I need to fall in love to get that distracted from arithmancy." Lynn rolled her eyes. They were sitting in the Gryffindor common room, in the two chairs nearest the fireplace. Wendy's chair was strategically positioned so she could glance over at Sirius Black and his friends without being conspicuous. This would have worked well had she only been glancing, but she was constantly staring instead of glancing and positively drooling at the sight of the very cute sixth year. Wendy, hello! Lynn waved her hand in front of her friend's face. Wendy blinked and looked back at her residency paper. Do you want to go to the library? Wendy glanced back at Sirius. Not really. Lynn sighed, exasperated. Wendy, please. Okay, Wendy snapped, frowning. Lynn, with Wendy's help, actually managed to get a few more sentences written before Wendy started drifting off into Sirius land again. Wendy, Lynn yelled, annoyed. Not so loud, Lynn, Wendy said, spots of color appearing on her cheeks as several students turned their heads to look. Well, you're doing it again. I know, Wendy moaned. What am I going to do? Forget about him, Wendy, please. But Lynn, he's a sixth year. Face it. You're never going to get him. That alone should be reason enough to give up. You're only third year, remember? I remember. And besides all that, he's Sirius Black. There are seventh year girls who probably wouldn't stand a chance with him. That's not very encouraging, Wendy huffed. Lynn shook her head. She didn't want to hurt her friend's feeling, but Sirius was just way out of her league, and it wasn't love, it was just a silly crush. She didn't voice her opinions, though. She just kept wishing over and over that she had never agreed to write her friend's love letter to Sirius Black. 2 more random characters thrown in.
Thank you.
Melody, at the next Marauders meeting, tried to embarrass Sirius as much as possible. She'd asked Remus to remember everything he could about the contents of the love letter, and was now using all the information she possessed against Sirius, trying to deceive him into thinking that it really was she who had written the love letter, while simultaneously trying to draw him into confessing his feelings for her. He already kissed you. What is your problem?
Seriously. In this world, do people just smooch out of nowhere? That's not how it works. If I'm going to kiss your face, it's because I like you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever kissed a person that I didn't have any kind of feelings for.
Seriously.
This is not how that works.
No, you don't just kiss somebody for no reason.
Unless it's a one-night stand, which doesn't feel like the kissing is that kind of situation.
No, this is clearly crush kisses. You clearly both like each other, and that's the kiss that jump starts everything, and then
yes, just go make out in a closet somewhere.
It's fine.
All was going well until Melody's loathed enemy number 2 burst in the doorway. Loathed enemy number 1 being Snape.
Of course.
It was Lily, dragging Rita Skeeter with her.
What?
Look who I found eavesdropping, she said triumphantly. Sirius, Melody, take her hostage, James commanded, and then he went over to be mushy with Lily for a moment. Lily, you're turning into a marauder, James cooed. Melody nearly barfed. She gagged silently for the benefit of Remus and Sirius, who laughed. Pettigrew laughed too, of course, but Melody didn't pay too much attention to him. She still disliked Peter, but they had gotten to the point where they could at least stand being in the same room with each other.
Fair.
Once Melody and Sirius had successfully bound Rita to a chair with magic, they began the interrogation. You are under strict violation code 10234, Peter stated. You must now be punished and interrogated. Rita Skeeter looked slightly alarmed.
I mean, I would be.
First, the punishment, Sirius said, almost sounding delighted. You must have pink gumdrops raining down on your head throughout the interrogation. Rita Skeeter looked slightly confused.
I mean, also fair.
James cleared his throat. The sort of Honorable Judge Moody presiding. Sometimes they write Moody, sometimes they write Mooney. Just so people don't think that I'm going back and forth, it's because it's actually back and forth written.
Yeah, I realized it too. I was like,
sometimes there's an N, sometimes there's a D.
Yep.
He announced, This case is now called to order. Will all the ladies please act as a jury? Melody and Lily glared at each other. Or not. Sirius, will you please allow the pink gumdrops to act as the jury.
I mean, if it was a potato, I'm sure Sirius would be fine with it. I don't know how he feels about gumdrops.
Sirius, who now had pink gumdrops flowing freely out of his wand, nodded. He's in agreement.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful.
Rita Skeeter rolled her eyes. The interrogation didn't last long. The Marauders discovered that Rita Skeeter had been eavesdropping on their meetings with the help of a wall-thinning charm and decided on a course of action to turn her into a donkey and let her roam the halls for a few hours. They also performed a memory charm on her so that she wouldn't remember the Marauders were unregistered animagi.
Bitch, you're an unregistered animagi.
Where do you think she got the idea?
Oh, fuck.
I don't actually know that's true. It feels right.
It does feel right.
This, of course, earned James, Sirius, Remus, Peter, and Melody a handful of detentions each, as they all proudly claimed fault for it, and the strict talking to from Professor McGonagall, who warned them that if they ever used Transfiguration on a fellow student ever again, the 5 of them would be expelled, and that ended the Marauders' grand campaign of turning people into donkeys.
I mean, fair.
Meanwhile, Lily was still keeping up a lively war with both Mimi and Melody. Nothing had really happened except a lot of glaring, but Melody, being Melody, decided to change this. On Tuesday morning, Lily awoke with a shock to find her entire body, skin, hair, teeth, tongue, and all, had been turned blue.
Oh, damn.
End of this chapter.
End of the chapter!
This was an exciting chapter.
It really was. We got love letters. We got 2 randos. We got the potato dance.
Yeah.
I think Lily slapped Harry. Lily slapped Harry. Lily slapped James.
She did slap James. All right.
Lots of exciting things. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey through the trap door. Please leave us a review on Facebook or iTunes. It would literally mean the world to us.
It really would.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Through the Trapdoor 16 or on Twitter at The Trapdoor.
And please send us an email at throughthetrapdoor16@gmail.com with any story suggestions. And as always, join us again next Saturday as we travel through the trapdoor.